You gotta laugh. You gotta laugh. Eretz Nehederet, which is the equivalent of America's Saturday Night Live in Israel, and a lot funnier, if I may say so, um, basically did this Zoran Mamdani spoof ad that I have to share with you. Now, I didn't even realize that actually it's just a few days away, the New York mayoral elections. I also want to show you Glenn Beck talking about Zoran Mamdani and the reason he thinks that Mamdani is crushing it in the race at the moment. But let's first have a bit of a laugh and watch this spoof.
This is a message from Zoran Mamdani to the Jewish community of New York City.
Hi, I'm Zoran Mamdani, candidate for mayor of New York City. To my Jewish friends and neighbors, shalom. Let me start by wishing you all a happy new year, or as you say in Hebrew, Intifada Tova.
Cut! It's Shana Tova. You said Intifada.
I did?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it again.
And action.
Hey, to all my Jewish New Yorkers, tonight we celebrate Rosh Hashanah with a festive family dinner and dance joyfully to the beloved song, Jihada, Nagil Jihada.
Cut! I'm pretty sure it's Hava Nagila.
Oh, of course.
Action!
I want to reassure you, I embrace all cultures. I love bagels, and I also love Hamas.
Hummus.
Hummus. God.
Action!
Dear Jewish friends, I promise you, I will fight anti-Semitism. I think about the Holocaust every day, that horrible time when Jews were transported by trains to the concentration camps. And it always reminds me of how my aunt stopped taking the train because she was afraid to go with a hijab after 9/11.
What?
Vote for me. And together we'll make New York City better and safer for Jews from Islamophobia. I'm Zoran Mamdani, and I approve this massacre. Message.
So good. And I have to tell you that what the anti-Zionists often do is they try to show that, look, I'm all for Jews. Jews are great, just Zionism. You have to understand very clearly, and this shouldn't be confusing to anyone that has the slightest sense of history and just sanity. There is no meaningful difference between being against Jews and Zionists. You say you're against Zionists, you're basically saying I'm against Jews' right to live in their home. And if you're against that, you are against that group of people. Simple as. And they try to conflate the two. And actually, Zionist ends up actually just being the code word to continue to prejudice the Jews. He would say otherwise, no, I'm just for the Palestinians. The whole Palestinian thing is an imperialist colonizing project, actually, by the way. Anti-Semitic project. The great irony is that what they accuse Israel of, they are guilty of. Just ask anyone that says it's just resistance, the Palestinian thing. What was the massacres in Hebron in the 1920s or in Safat in the 1830s all about? The pogroms against the Jews then by the Arab Muslims of the region. What was that about? What were they resisting then? Fascinating. But I want to show you what Glenn Beck has to say about Zoran Mamdani because I think he's got some really interesting insights.
It won't serve it. We don't know how to fix it, or do we? Right now, we are in the midst of one of the deadliest epidemics the world has ever seen. Now, why would I say that? Well, a disturbing amount of young people today are turning towards two radical ideologies: radical leftism and political Islam. So let's look at some historical facts. Radical leftism has contributed to over 140 million deaths, whether from government-induced famine, murder, political oppression, starvation. It's a death cult, in a similar vein as ISIS or Al-Qaeda. Oh, and speaking of Islamists, in 2000, there were roughly 1.8 million Muslims in the United States. That number is now grown to 5 million, with a growth rate annually of 2%. Islam is projected to be the second largest faith in the United States in about 10 years. Now, that's not what concerns me. Here's the scary part of this. Political Islam is also rising. Hamas sympathizers taking over universities. They create their own parallel communities, and some of them right here in Texas. Texans, you better wake up. They live by their own justice system with Sharia courts, and together, the radical leftists and the Islamists, and even the Antifa anarchists, are all marching side by side in solidarity. But here's the thing. This is not the epidemic. These are all symptoms of a much larger virus, and that virus is a lack, or in some cases, I think, a perversion of education. This is why I am starting The Torch. It's coming in January. We have a very short time to fix this before it's all too late, and seeing things like this doesn't make me feel any better. Watch.
All right.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Tax the rich. Tax the rich. That was a few days ago at a rally for Mamdani in New York City. And here we have the radicals like Bernie Sanders, AOC, Mamdani screeching like banshees over the virtues of socialism, all the while being backed up by the establishment Democrats like Governor Hochul. Now the crowd erupts into tax the rich. But do they not know how this ends? No. Were the people in the rally really never taught any of this in school? No, they weren't. And Mamdani, who is now in the final week of his mayoral campaign, is the perfect poster child for this dangerous blend of radical leftism and political Islam. Proper education would end this campaign right now, but instead we get glowing interviews by the media like this one.
I think any New Yorker who looks at someone getting an opportunity, who's representing communities that have not been as representative, a Muslim, a young person, a progressive, a democratic socialist, there are so many different communities that are looking to you, and this, I hate to put it on you, as a bit of a Jackie Robinson moment. And I know that probably wields some weight, but man, oh man. What an exciting opportunity.
Okay, what an exciting opportunity. Jackie Robinson, seriously? I mean, I remember that time when Jackie Robinson thought police were all controlled by the Jews? Yeah, that's Mamdani in a nutshell. Watch.
We have to make clear that when the boot of the NYPD is on your neck, it's been laced by the IDF.
Really? This is who Jon Stewart has, wishes the best? Yeah. But it was always the Jews. What else should we expect from a radical socialist that refuses to condemn political Islam? The lack of education in this country has blown past epidemic levels. It's a major crisis. And it's not just from the socialists. There are people on the right this very minute basically saying the same bullcrap as Mamdani is. Mamdani said the Jews control the police. He sounds, I'm going to use the R word, retarded, but compare that to the random influencer, sometimes on the right. Here are just a few things they're saying. That the Jews killed Charlie Kirk. They say the Jews orchestrated 9/11. AIPAC secretly controls the U.S. government from a dark lair located somewhere in a bunker in an undisclosed location. I get it. I see how the left could be duped into this bullcrap, but they're currently marching side by side with Islamists and waving Hamas flags. But the right, really? You're not even being imaginative here. There are a few of the top global conspiracies regarding Jews over the past centuries. The Jews control the weather. There's a Jewish space laser that, Jews are lizard people, shape.
By the way, we are getting, looks like an upgrade soon from the Iron Dome to lasers that can laser beam rockets out of the sky. So maybe the Israeli Jewish space lasers has some truth to it.
Shifters, Jews invented communism to destroy civilization. Do you even know who Karl Marx was? These are actual conspiracies that people believe, but at least they had some imagination. How are these different from what the people are saying today? Same bullcrap, just repackaged from the 1930s. Charlie Kirk has always said it best: Jew hate has no place in civil society. It rots the brain and rejects it. Only a society that has been dehydrated at the faucet of knowledge and education could be led down this path. And the people are thirsty. They've been denied anything to drink for too long. They'll drink poison. This is how you get Mamdani for mayor. It's how you get thousands of people to chant tax the rich. It's how people blame the Jews literally for everything and then turn a blind political eye to Islam. They'll sympathize with terrorists like Hamas and blame the Jews for space lasers, but ignore it when the Islamists slaughter Christians in places like Africa. By the way, my charity Mercury One has made it their mission in this epidemic of perverted education, not only to save those Christians, but also to save the Christians all over the world when nobody else would help. We've addressed this at our annual.
Glenn Beck, as you can see, is just clearly calling out the lies on both sides, and well done for him for doing that. You should see, by the way, the recent interview that I did with him on JTV, which you can see over here if you just search Glenn Beck Warren's right. Just search Glenn Beck J-TV and you'll see it there. Our discussion, but goodness me, the fact that it's now coming from both the right and the left, and seems to be rising. What does this mean? I'm going to give you my thoughts in just a second. Before we get to that, a quick message. A quick update before we continue. I've got some big news for you. We've finally decided to bring JTV in person. I'm planning a speaking tour across America where I'll be talking about everything from the big issues the Jewish people and Israel face today to Judaism's deepest ideas, and of course, I'll be taking your questions. If you want me to come to your location, just click the Google form link below in the video description and I'll be in touch. Let's have a conversation. So, my thoughts on what we're seeing as rising Jew hatred on the right as well as the left, and of course on the Islamist side, as well as, by the way, a lot of people on all sides waking up and standing with Israel and the Jews, is that there's a few things. First of all, I do believe that we're approaching times of a biblical scale. That's what all the signs seem to point to me: the return of the Jews to Israel, the attention on Israel, the wars, the progress that Israel's made, but also the hostility that we're seeing militarily, politically. There's just a lot there that aligns with what the Torah tells us is kind of the end of days scenario, which, by the way, has a very positive outcome in the end. So that means that a few things will have to happen. Number one is people and nations are going to have to decide where they cast their lot and who they wish to be ultimately as history reaches its crescendo, right? So that's kind of happening now. We're seeing people being forced to make those kinds of moral decisions and moral stands from all political spectrums, even if they thought, oh, my camp never had a problem with Israel. They're now, for Glenn Beck, for example, he may well be losing followers, members, financial clients, support, customers because of his moral stance on Israel. So it's going to test him, but he's holding strong. And then there is for the Jewish people. A few years ago, as the left turned more on Israel, Jews started to feel and realize maybe I'm politically homeless. Jews always thought, though, I think certainly pro-Israel Jews, conservative leaning Jews, my camp is never going to turn on me. And it's becoming a little bit more blurry. The signs it's unclear. And maybe they're going to start to feel more politically homeless. And I think what's happening is that actually on a kind of cosmic scale, there's an idea that God has to make a separation, a distinction between the Jews and the non-Jews. That's part of what anti-Semitism is. It insists on this distinction. That Jews ultimately realize who they are first is a Jew. That they should never put their trust or political or religious or any identity in any other camp other than their Jewishness and their God and their Torah and the people of Israel, the nation of Israel. And I think that might be happening. I think that's what's happening for the Jewish people, realizing that we are a distinct nation and we are politically homeless in a way, because our home should lie with God, the God of Israel. And we do have a distinct mission. Yes, there might be lots of overlap between what we want to do and what other political groups might believe. But we have a very distinct identity. And our mission ultimately on a cosmic scale is not to be just another nation, but a light to the nations, the teacher in the global classroom of God's morality and God's vision for the world. So I think actually on a deeper, more cosmic level, that might be happening. And that is, by the way, why our new documentary on Moshiach, the Jewish Messiah, the Jewish vision of the Messianic era, is so timely. And if you haven't seen it already, here's the trailer. And if you want to watch the full thing, you can just click the link in the video description. For thousands of years, the Jewish people have carried a promise that history is not a random cycle, that suffering and darkness and exile are not the end of the story, that one day the world will be redeemed and the Messiah, the Moshiach in Hebrew, will come. But what does that actually mean? Who is Moshiach? When will he come? How will we know he's real? Why would God design a world that waits so long for redemption in the first place? And what will life feel like after he comes? With AI and machines beginning to replace work, maybe we're already catching a glimpse. But then what will we do with our days? The prophets spoke of that world long ago. In this groundbreaking JTV Plus documentary, we uncover the truth about the Jewish vision of the Messiah, who he is, why it matters, and why his coming could be closer than you think. Join us as we reveal the truth about history's most anticipated figure. To watch this JTV Plus documentary and access much more premium content, click on the link in the video description.